Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane Spawn the Clown. This is Violator in his clown form. This is part of the first assortment of McFarlane Spawn figures in the new Spawn line. This guy here is quite overpriced at $40. I get the figure being $20, and that huge gun is pretty nice, but a whole nother $20, a little much. I stumbled across this figure at Target. So let's take a look at the packaging here. As you can see at the top, ages 14 plus, says this is not a toy. I always think it's hilarious McFarlane puts that on their figures. Other side, McFarlane Toys. The bottom, you can see Spawn and the Clown. Here he is in the package. He's got this giant gun, two alternate hands, a knife, and then a straight razor. One side of the package, it says Spawn at the top, and here is the Clown. Other side of the package says Spawn, and then you got the figure down there. At the bottom, there's a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode, in case that helps anybody. And on the back side, here's the Clown with his giant gun. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And I did end up getting two of these figures. He's going to double up as both a Joker henchman in my action figure world and the Clown Violator in my Spawn world. I got two of these guys for my Joker henchman purposes. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He does come with a display stand, two alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, a knife, a straight razor, and this giant machine gun that attaches to his back. Now this guy was $40, and that's because of the big gun. So I guess that gun has a $20 value to it. Frankly, I didn't even want the gun, I just want the Clown figure. Like I said before, I got this guy for two reasons. Number one, to use with my Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn until I get a better Spawn. He's one of the main antagonists in the Spawn series. And number two, he's going to double up as a great Joker Thugger henchman in my Batman world. So let's take a look at him. Here he is, short, fat old dude. He's got the clown paint on his face, smiling mouth open, those ugly yellow teeth. He looks fat and disgusting, and I love it. His hair's going back, it's gray, mostly bald, pretty crazy looking. Spikes on his shoulder. He's got this leather jacket, sort of biker look to him. This ammo sash in front of him, striped shirt, belt. Don't even see the joint here, so I'm going to assume it's a single jointed elbow under there. There it is. Single jointed knees as well. I mean, this guy's kind of stubby, it'd be hard to do double joints, and frankly, he doesn't need to be super articulated. Spikes on the toe, toe articulation. Really like the detail here. This is how it looks in the back, and it looks absolutely hideous. I really wish it didn't even have the gun. Didn't want it at all, but happy to have this guy nonetheless. And here are both the Clown figures with all their accessories laid out. And just a closer look at his face. This guy's laughing maniacally. His teeth and tongue look absolutely awful, and that's the point. They totally achieved the goal. I think it looks great. It totally captures the essence of this character. And here's the Clown figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start with the boring stuff. He's got this display stand, typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, says Spawn on the bottom. It's got one peg for the peg holes on his feet. It's very thin, very basic. Now let's take a look at his hands. He has 4 of them. Here he is with his first pair of hands. His left hand is a fist, and his right hand is sort of semi-open. Might be able to hold something large, but it's not a traditional gripping hand. And here he is with his second pair of hands. These are a pair of gripping hands. The one on the right almost looks like it has a trigger finger, even though he doesn't come with any sort of trigger gun. Now let's look at his knife and straight razor. The knife here on the blade, it's got some jagged edges. The handle, it's got a good amount of sculpting detail on it. And then his straight razor here. A lot of sculpting on the blade. Handle looks pretty good as well. Pretty intricate. Looks like both the handles have skulls on them, both the knife and the straight razor. Now it'd be very cool if this thing was hinged, but it's not. It's one solid piece. Here's the Clown holding the knife, and then holding the straight razor. And if you want him to hold both the knives at the same time, no problem. Now let's look at his giant gun. This thing is very heavy. I don't see how this guy will support this in his back. Seems like he would just fall right over. Now my first thought when looking at this thing, I wonder if I could mod this thing to somehow fit onto Cyborg, so I could have him at the extended nightmare scene at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Just a thought. So this thing, it looks good, it's huge, it's massive. You can see a machine gun here. Different kind of gun on the other side. Gun on the back here too. Looks like it's got a lot of articulation. The paint's pretty good. It's not solid black. It's got a wash, some silver and gray in there. Now it seems like it should be super articulated, but everything seems to be stuck. I can barely just move at all. This here should probably be hinged, but I can really just can't get it to go. Looks like it's got a ball joint here and a ball joint here. Getting a little bit of movement there. I mean, this part works, but as far as going up and down, not really. Same with down here. Sure, and go outward. Can't really go up and down very easily. It's all just stuck so bad. And this one kind of goes up and down a little bit. This hinge here, I just can't get it to work on either side. I've tried and tried and tried. This back part here, it can rotate around, go up and down. The rotation's kind of stuck. So I'm going to take some boiling water, dip this thing in there, see if it's any better. I did want to point out that both my guns are crazy stuck. So it makes me think it's a widespread problem, not just mine. I do realize if these things are super loose, they're very heavy, they wouldn't hold any poses. So let's see what boiling water does. So I brought some water to a boil, and some of the pieces are a little better off now. The hinge area here, you can hear it's ratcheted, it sticks into place. It's designed that way to help hold the weight. I mean, this thing is very heavy. Ball joint here, got a little bit of range of motion. If I go up and down, it just sort of splits here. It's not broken. You can sort of push it right back in there. But it's pretty annoying that it's so tight that it does that. Other side, the hinge is still very tight, but it has given a little bit. Ball joint here, freed up quite a bit. It's working very nicely. Then this gun here, also freed up quite a bit. Got a little handle for him to hold when he has the gun on his back. Here's the clown without the backpack on. This is why I bought the figure, for him, not for the gun. And here he is with the gun attached. When you have the two large guns behind him, there's no way his body's going to support the weight. But let's see how it is when we even it out and put the guns up top. And you know what? I'll be damned. It works pretty good. Do not misunderstand me. Those guns are crazy heavy. If you have them down on the back, not deployed out, he will never hold them up there. The thing's so heavy, it fell off his back a couple times. But if you get it all balanced just right, it stays pretty nicely. Better than I would have expected. You can also see him holding the little trigger there. There are a lot of different display options with these guns. You can have them way tall, a little bit shorter. They can look to the side, to the front, above him, behind him. A lot of options. And just a closer look at his guns. At the top, two large machine gun type things. They're different. I thought they were going to be symmetrical. Then he's got this rocket launcher above his head. It's pretty impressive, although for my purposes, kind of unnecessary. I don't actually see any way you could mod this gun to work with Cyborg. I mean, maybe you could cut a big hole in his back and glue that thing in there. Maybe somebody a little more clever than me could come up with something. A cool concept, but I don't think it'll ever work. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's standing at about 6.0 inches tall, and that's on a 7-inch scale action figure. Means he's a short, fat dude. 6 inches will translate to about 15 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, he can look from side to side, can rotate his head all the way up and down, can look up and down about like that, can sort of tilt his head from one side to the other. Good range of motion, more than I expected. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes up about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. It does have a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion there. He's got rotation in his elbow, single jointed elbow, hidden pretty nicely, goes in about 90 degrees. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. His torso here seems to be one solid piece. ball joint in his waist, can rotate around, go forward and back just a littlest bit. Legs, they go out about this far. Not a ball joint, similar type idea. Rotation, pretty impressive. Then go forward, and not too much. Back about that far. Single jointed knees, go back less than 90 degrees. There is rotation as well. Then his ankle here. It can go forward and back. Can rotate just a little bit. Tilt and rock a little bit. And there's toe articulation. Here are the two clown violators acting as Joker thugs in my Joker base. Let's go ahead and switch to a city street setup for this next scene. Now we got Joker and a bunch of his thugs surrounding Batman. They're all pulling out different various weapons to take down the Batman. Of course, Batman easily takes them down. He's standing on top of a pile of unconscious Joker thugs. And of course, let's not forget, this guy's an actual Spawn character. Here he is in an alleyway, meeting up with Spawn. Now let's check him out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane Spawn figures. Here are both of my clown figures from Spawn. Unfortunately, I don't yet have the Mega Fig Violator version of him. That's coming soon though. Here he is, next to the Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn. This is the best and my favorite Spawn that I have from McFarlane in the modern day and age. I missed out on the Kickstarter Spawn, I'm still kicking myself in the ass for that. If anybody knows where I might be able to get one, let me know. And then, next to all the different paint variations of the Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn, there's another version upcoming, and it's not just simply a paint variation, it's an armored male fig Spawn. Looking forward to getting that guy. And here he is, next to a couple of Mandarin Spawns. The red one was available pretty much anywhere, the blue one was a Walmart exclusive. There is a Deluxe Mandarin Spawn, which is a GameStop exclusive. I've not purchased him yet, but I definitely plan to. He's quite pricey at $40. Here are all the modern McFarlane Spawn figures that I have, and there are a bunch more coming in the next few days. We've got Redeemer Spawn, Raven Spawn, the Mega Fig Violator, and I missed the pre-order, but I'm sure I'll be able to track down a Gunslinger Spawn. That last one's a Target exclusive. And here he is, next to some older clown McFarlane Spawn figures. The one on the left is the clown in a straitjacket on a gurney. He's a little bit larger and more in scale with what I collect nowadays. The two clown figures on the right, they're a little bit smaller. I've had them for many, many years to use as Joker thugs, and I'm happy to finally have a clown that's a little bit more in scale with my collection. Two on the right, the first one is from the comics, and the second one is from the movie. And here are a few other older Spawn figures that I have. From left to right, we've got Al Simmons before he was Spawn, his old friend Terry, of course the clown in the center, and the last two are both Wanda. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. And I'm going to include as many clown and Joker figures as I can during these comparisons. Here he is, next to several different Joker figures from McFarlane's DC Multiverse. Then, next to some more McFarlane figures. And now, next to some Jakks Pacific wrestling figures. Then, next to some regular plastic Mezco figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 cloth soft goods action figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse Joker figures. And here, next to some Mafex Joker figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts Joker figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, this is a pretty cool figure, but the value just isn't there. It's very annoying that McFarlane forced you to buy this guy with that giant gun and charge you double the price. I don't even want the gun, and they executed it poorly. I imagine if this line is successful, and it sure seems like it's going to be, They will re-release this guy by himself without the gun at the $20 price point, probably filling in the hole in his back as well. I have been wanting a pair of these guys in the proper scale for many, many years, and they did not disappoint. They just robbed me, and I allowed it to happen. Too bad I wasn't one of those people that found these guys at clearance at Target. I've been seeing that for about a month now on Instagram. This guy's accessories, they are cool, although the gun is totally unnecessary. His articulation, it's pretty good. I mean, there's no double jointed elbows, but they did a pretty good job of hiding the joints. And he really doesn't need to be super articulated. This is a fat, disgusting, out-of-shape clown. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. A little bit torn. If he didn't cost so much, I'd probably give him a little bit of a higher rating. I wanted to give him a lower rating because of the price point, but I'm just liking this guy quite a bit. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.